Italtile is South Africa's leading retailer of ceramic tiles, sanitary ware and bathroom accessories through its Italtile CTM and Top T outlets. It was founded by the Ravizzotti family and was listed in 1988. It is in the process of buying out minorities in its associated manufacturing company, Ceramic. It has a market cap of 6.5 billion rand, a price to earnings ratio of 15 and a dividend yield of 2.2%. Before we go there, we have also been listening to our viewers. You don't like our noises on the hot or not, so we're dropping them in terms of this show. Paul, you didn't know that? I've made an executive decision.
There you go.
Right here. So we're talking about Italtile right now. Let's just start on the graph that we are focusing on here. Very nice little run towards the end.
Yeah, we saw some good results in December and then June. We just had the results out earlier this month, so some good results coming in, solid numbers, despite, like I said, hard trading conditions. So they've had a lot of competition from China and Europe. I know they've got operations in Australia which are struggling because of the fact of cheaper goods coming in from China. But they've got good revenue in South Africa, good business, and they seem to do well in their marketing and advertising side with their CTM, which and Italtile, which is the most prominent brands that clients out there would be aware of. Well,
Paul, you're so enthusiastic about this sector. I expect you to be hot off the top on all of these stocks going forward.
Yeah, no, look, this one benefited from the shift. In our parents' day, you either had wood floors or you had carpets, wall-to-wall carpets. That was the only way you go. Suddenly, out of nowhere, tiles burst onto the scene. Very flexible, very affordable, and obviously the pricing of tiles ranges from the absurdly, Italian fire baked by hand by the old man in the village in Tuscany, right through to the stuff which is just kind of knocked off a massive plant, and that's where obviously the Chinese imports come and so on. But Giovanni Ravizzotti, who founded this group, basically has controlled all the shares. He's a very wily operator. They were very cautious with their store rollouts. They typically owned their properties. They had that nice segmentation. So Italtile is the top of the market for the imports. CTM, Carlo, Tito, Mario, with those funny ads, that was the middle market, and then Top T. So they've been able to prevent the sort of brand leakage. Very nice group. The only thing that anyone has ever held against them is that the shares very tightly hold and doesn't really trade enough.
And that, of course, is a problem if you need to get hold of it.
Yeah, definitely as a trader. Obviously, it's a bit of a too smaller cap stock to be trading it quite aggressively. So they're obviously small cap and also tightly held. There is talk about there's a buyout of the ceramic business from Radium, their partner. I think that's for 130 Rand a share. I think that's just to kind of give it a more control into that division. I think the shareholders of ceramic will be pretty chuffed with that. But
what happens when the construction sector starts booming? How does that impact these feeder stocks into the construction environment?
No, it impacts them well because obviously it sort of creates original demand, in other words, new homes. But just to go to that ceramic thing as well, ceramic was part of the company up until 1991 when they spun it out. So it's got the same shareholders. The Ravizzotti family is that Rallon entity, plus a whole lot of other trusts with Italian-sounding names. That's also part of the family. So if you put all of that together, that's why they're only offering to buy out like 15–20% of ceramic, because that's all they need to buy, because everything else they own already. So basically they're reversing the prior plan. Ceramic is a manufacturing business. So the idea there is you manufacture baths and tiles and all the rest of it. But they also got involved with imports because it was just too hard to compete. So really, I think what we're looking at going forward, post the deal, will be a larger entity with a market cap, I don't know, 7–8 billion, which will do all of that stuff end to end and manage all of their margins, which I suppose is fine, but just understand that it can then attract additional profit volatility because of the manufacturing thing, which is inherently a bit trickier.
All right, so it's trading just under 6.80 Rand at the moment, or there and thereabouts.
Yeah.
From a share price perspective, how does this compare to what we've seen historically? Is this near, because if you look at our graph, obviously this is a 3-year graph. Yeah. We're sitting at an all-time high over a 3-year period. Where's it come from?
It reached 7.15 Rand or something back in the sort of boom days of 2008.
So it's very close to its all-time high.
Yeah. Yeah, and it went all the way down there, as you can see, to around 3 Rand something. So it's been quite a tough build going back, but it's back where it belongs.
I mean, it's got a good, strong track record. The brand's a strong brand, people, and the company focuses on the DIY home improver as well, and it's got a strong brand, and it's one of the strongest, I'd have to say, in that tile ceramic type bathroom accessory business. So I think that is going to stand in good stead for the future, for future growth.
You want to make one more
Yeah,
point
just
before I
about
ask you hot or
management.
not?
They had the tragedy about a year ago where the
flight,
CEO, Gianni Ravazzotti, son of the founder, and his existing management team crashed a plane going into the Jet airport. Yeah. So that was a real disaster, and many people thought, well, what on earth's going to happen now? But the old man, Giovanni, went back in and is running the business now. I think that does create slight concerns about what happens when
succession planning.
Yeah, because he's an elderly fellow. I think he's around mid-70s or so.
That's where we had
I think this was the crash time around this period, if I remember correctly. We had a lot of guys phoning in, asking us if they could short it on a derivative or they could try buy it on the bottom. So a lot of guys...
Huge concern about sustainability.
Correct, huge concern from a retail client point of view.
Yeah.
Hot or not on Italtile, Paul?
Look, I'd love to say yes, but the limited tradability for me is a problem. So I'm going to go not hot.
A hot or not, Travis?
Historical PE of 16. I like it. I think it's a good return on equity, great cash flow. My query is subdued economic conditions put it at a bit of a question in the operations in Australia, but I still give it a hot.
Oh, I'm glad you came to that hot. I didn't know where we were going.
I thought you were going to cut me off, so yeah.
No, you got it all there. Perfect sound.